Charles T. Ray, also known as Pony Diehl or Diehl, was an outlaw of the Old West in the New Mexico Territory and Arizona. Though not nearly as well known as other gunfighters in history, Ray, best known by his nickname Pony Diehl, has fought some of the West's most notorious figures, including names like Billy the Kid, Wyatt Earp, Ike Clanton, and many others. He was accused by Wyatt Earp of participating in the plot to kill his brother Virgil Earp. Remember to hit the like button because it helps us a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to not miss the upcoming interesting videos. Pony Diehl was born in 1848 in Rock Island, Illinois, the son of German-American Jeremiah and Mary Hagler Ray. In the 1870s, Pony Diehl rose to prominence in New Mexico as a member of the John Kinney Gang, then with the Jesse Evans Gang. While participating in the Kinney Gang, an incident occurred on December 31, 1875, when Diehl, John Kinney, Jesse Evans, and gang member Jim McDaniels, they got into an altercation at a pub in Las Cruces, New Mexico. They clashed with the American cavalry from Fort Stanton. One private was brutally beaten. While Kinney was also wounded, his friends quickly carried him out, then turned around and shot through the doors and windows of the pub at the soldiers. As a result, 2 soldiers and 1 civilian were killed, and 5 others were wounded. Diehl remained with the Kinney Gang until 1875, and in early 1876 he left the gang to join Jesse Evans, who had left to form his own gang. Participating in cattle robberies and armed robberies, they temporarily teamed up with Billy the Kid, assisting the Murphy-Dolan faction in their feud against John Tunstall in Lincoln, New Mexico. However, Billy the Kid, as a friend of Tunstall, decided to leave the group. The remaining members of the gang then perpetrated the murder of Tunstall, sparking the Lincoln County War, where Evans and his gang clashed with Billy the Kid and his allies. After the Lincoln County War ended, Diehl decided to leave New Mexico. In late 1878, he began herding to the Arizona and Tombstone Territory, joined by Curly Bill Brocious and Turkey Creek Jack Johnson. This made him a member of the Cochise County Cowboys, a notorious group of outlaws at the time that included Ike Clanton, Billy Clanton, Frank McLaury, Tom McLaury, Johnny Ringo, and Curly Bill Brocious. The gang committed various robberies and rustling cattle into the Arizona Territory. During this time, Diehl was involved in many of the events leading up to the gunfight at the OK Corral. He's suspected of being involved in the theft of a mule by the U.S. Army, along with Sherman McMaster, whom Diehl had known as a child. After the gunfight at the OK Corral, the Earps moved their family to the Cosmopolitan Hotel for mutual support and protection. At about 11:30 p.m. on December 28, 1881, Virgil was suddenly ambushed while walking from the Oriental Saloon to his room. The next day, the Sacramento Daily Record-Union reported he was shot by 3 mysterious men in half-built building across from Allen Street with loaded, double-barreled shotguns. That night, shots were fired from the second-story building across Allen Street, hitting the Crystal Palace Saloon and Eagle Brewery, breaking windows and nearly killing customers. Virgil was hit in the back and left arm by 3 loads of buckshot from about 60 feet. George Parsons wrote that he heard 4 shots in quick succession. Severely wounded, Virgil staggered into the hotel. Earp's upper arm was fractured vertically, and Dr. George E. Goodfellow decided to amputate 4 inches of his broken humerus and elbow, leaving his arm permanently paralyzed. Virgil said to his wife Allie, "Never mind, I only have 1 arm to hold you." Virgil was also shot through his back above his hip, and Goodfellow removed 10 shrapnel fragments that had penetrated his body and located near the hip bone above his groin. Dr. George E. Goodfellow was able to save Virgil's arm, but he carried it in a sling the rest of his life. The Los Angeles Daily Herald reported that the Cowboys are seeking revenge for slaughtering their companions a few weeks ago. On January 30th, 1882, Judge Stilwell issued warrants for the arrest of Diehl, Ike Clanton, and Finn Clanton for allegedly conspiring to murder Virgil Earp. Wyatt Earp immediately formed a team to search for the cowboys in Charleston, but their efforts were unsuccessful. Upon returning to Tombstone, Wyatt discovered that the men had surrendered, albeit for a lesser offense. Evidence of Ike's presence was found at the ambush site, but several associates corroborated him, claiming he was involved in another dispute that night. As a result, the charges against Pony Diehl, Ike, and Finn were dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Then, in February 1882, another arrest warrant was issued for Diehl, this time in connection with a carriage robbery that took place in January of the same year. But Diehl managed to escape, and Earp couldn't find him. After attending a theatrical performance on March 18th, Morgan Earp became the victim of a targeted assassination. The gunman fired from a dark alley through the window into the room where he was playing pool. One of the bullets fractured his spine, pierced his left side, and lodged in George A.B. Berry's thigh. That night, Wyatt Earp fortunately escaped death after a failed assassination attempt. A doctor was called in, and Morgan was moved from the floor to a nearby bench for ease of treatment. Unfortunately, despite the doctor's efforts, Morgan died 40 minutes later. Meanwhile, the assassins have escaped under the cover of darkness. As a result of this tragedy, U.S. Deputy Marshal Wyatt Earp lost faith in the justice system and decided to take matters into his own hands. He formed a federal army to track down the individuals he believed were responsible. At Pete Spence's log camp in the Dragoon Mountains, where they successfully found and killed Florentino Indian Charlie Cruz. 2 days later, near Iron Springs in the Whetstone Mountains, they were trying to meet a messenger. They later found Curly Bill Brocious' log camp, which included Diehl and other members of the Cowboys. A fierce gun battle ensued. During the skirmish, Wyatt killed Curly Bill and wounded Johnny Barnes. Diehl was unharmed and escaped. In historical records, in 1882, Diehl claimed responsibility for the murder of Michael O'Rourke, a notorious gambler and Earp supporter. According to Fred Dodge's testimony, Frank Leslie told him that O'Rourke shot Ringo in the head and tried to make it look like a suicide. It is worth noting that Diehl and Johnny Ringo have a close friendship. Despite the existing tensions between the various factions, those aware of the relationship never suspected Diehl was the one who killed O'Rourke. Diehl was later arrested on various charges, including robbery and cattle theft, and sentenced to 5 years in prison in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He planned and escaped in February 1885, but was recaptured 4 days later. Returning to prison, he was released in March 1887, after which time Pony Diehl disappeared from history, although some accounts say he was killed in a gunfight in 1888. Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.